Well, good morning and welcome back to Bible study. It's so good to have you back with us here at Christ Table. For those of you who don't know, Christ Table is a ministry, is a group that is dedicated to those who are disconnected, disillusioned, done with the church or with Christianity or with Christians. And oftentimes it's, those things tend to be very similar. You get frustrated with one, you get frustrated with all. And we're here to help you navigate your spiritual journey through that difficult season when you decide whether or not you want to maintain that spiritual journey, abandon it, go in different directions, whatever. We're here for you. If you'd like to know more about Christ Table, who we are, what we do, sign up for our email list. You can sign up right there at that URL, www.christtable.today. If you'd like to know more about this study in particular, the URL that is right there, go.christtable.today/game on, will give you more information about this study. You can download a study guide there that will help you navigate through each and every day of this study alongside of us. It's absolutely free, no strings attached. If you'd like a printed copy of that, you can get a printed copy of that free PDF there at that website. There's also a youth and family study there as well. All of it comes as part of a box of resources that will help you navigate this study and your spiritual journey. More information there in order to do that, but the PDFs are absolutely free for your using, and we encourage you to get those and be a part. So we're on day 15 of our study. Today we're in Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20. And we are also at the very end of another week, which means that we are finishing up talking about a specific piece in the game of chess. We've spent a couple of weeks talking about, we started with the pawn. We followed up the pawn by talking about the rook. And this week we are talking about the knight, which I think I've said every single day. As a kid, the knight was my favorite chess piece for many reasons, both the cool way that it looked, as well as the way in which it moved. And we have talked a lot about how that abnormal and not straight movements of the knight have played in a lot to navigating the game of chess, utilizing strategy, wins, losses, successes, failures, and how a lot of times in our life as well, God moves in ways that are not straight, that are mysterious, and we oftentimes as well, our best path through life are paths that are not straight. There are some really positive payoffs and reasons why it might actually be advantageous to do that. In the game of chess, for instance, one of the things that is a huge benefit of that unexpected movement pattern of the knight, which is, it looks like an uppercase L. It always moves 2 squares in one direction and 1 square in another. Depending on which way you combine or move those left or right, up or down, gives you a potential of 8 different locations in a circle around the knight that it could land in whenever it moves. But it's not a straight path. It's not a straight forward, not a straight backward, not a straight left, not a straight right. It's very unexpected. It's very nonlinear. And it also is a piece that is able to do something that the other pieces are not able to do, and that is to jump other pieces, which really can lead the knight to creating a whole lot of chaos on the board in the game of chess, because it can surprise your opponent. Its movements are always unexpected, and it can cause some very tricky tactical possibilities that players, especially less experienced players that you might be playing against, might miss. And so this can be a very deadly opponent, a very formidable opponent in the game of chess, because it sees possibilities that others often miss. One of the things that I think is really attractive about the knight and about the game of chess is that, unlike checkers or many other games, there are multiple different ways in which to attack and operate a game. There are so many wildly different possibilities depending on who you're playing, depending on your skill level, depending sometimes on luck and chance, sometimes on strategy, multi-step movements. There can be a lot of possibilities, and a player that isn't seasoned or a player that isn't paying attention can miss a lot of those possibilities that others miss. In the spiritual realm, whenever we talk about seeing things that others can't see, or seeing things that others don't see, or seeing things that others are not yet able to see, we have a word for that, and that is prophecy. Seeing things before they occur, or seeing things that others are yet unable to see. Prophecy. Possibilities that others miss. In fact, a large portion of the New Testament in the Bible hinges on seeing possibilities that others miss. And I don't want to get too deep into the idea of prophecy from a religious standpoint, because I know that many of you may have a positive relationship with the word prophet or prophecy. Some of you may have a very negative relationship with this idea of prophets or prophecy. It might be even triggering for some of you. You might not even know whether or not you believe in prophecy or prophets. I don't think those things are important. What I do think is important is that we stop for a moment and we consider the power of seeing things that others will miss. Seeing possibilities that others may not be able to see. I think there is a lot of value in that. Can that be used for harm? Oh yeah, that could be used for harm. Stabbing somebody in the back and they don't see it coming. Utilizing your power or your authority or your position in order to surprise people, like you're living in a real game of chess, just taking out your opponents at the knees. The element of surprise. Or it could also be something that's very positive, where your ability to see possibilities, to see roads where other people only see barriers, could be something that could be very advantageous and helpful when it comes to justice, when it comes to love, whenever it comes to compassion, seeing ways to help people, to love people, to enable people that might not be able to be seen by them or by others, feels like a very Christ-like quality, a very God-like thing. In the book of Ephesians, Paul writes this line to the church of Ephesus: "Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more," to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work. And I think I may have cut off the rest of that verse there. Let me just go ahead and pull it up here and see whether or not I did indeed not get that entire verse here. Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20. We are on day 15 under the night. Yeah, just here live. Yes, according to his power that is at work. And then the final part of that verse is within us. So there is something at work within you whenever you are walking in lockstep with God. Whenever you're following Jesus, there is something that is at work, some power that I have access to that is beyond myself. This is kind of the story or the message of the Gospels. It's certainly what Jesus was trying to get his disciples to understand, that they had power to do things that they couldn't do with power that they didn't have. They needed to rely on God for that extra. And so being able to do something that is immeasurably or inquantifiably more than what we could ask or what we could imagine is what Paul is saying here that God is in the business of. You don't see the full extent of what God can do. You're not going to be able to see the full extent of what God would be able to give you were you to ask for it. You cannot imagine the possibilities that are available. And I think that there is a part of me that wants to live in the same way, that wants to offer the kind of possibilities to people that they're not able to imagine, that they're not even able or willing or believe that they can ask for, that to be the hands and feet of Jesus, to be present and available for those who are oppressed, to be able to be in the business of doing justice, of seeing things through, of helping others walk unexpected paths in order to arrive at a destination that they may have long given up on, I believe is holy work, and much like the night, is something that is unexpected whenever it happens. This idea of a prophetic vision, the ability to see things beyond what others are able to see, that requires faith. A faith that expands your vision beyond what seems immediately possible and helps you see things that others miss. And I believe that there are so many people in our world, in our life, in our communities that have been so oppressed, that have been so marginalized, that have been so beaten down and brutalized that they've stopped being able to see or imagine anymore or trust. How powerful would it be for you to be able to step in and say, you may not be able to trust or see or step forward, but what if I do it for you? What if I expand your vision beyond what you believe is possible immediately and help you see possibilities beyond your hope? And I'm willing to help you get there. What if you began identifying people in your community, in your situation, in your current predicaments, people who needed to have hope again? What might that look like? What might that feel like for you to be able to do that and live that way? I think that's part of the call of somebody who is not just a follower of Jesus, but who's a good person. To be willing to follow unexpected paths on behalf of those who have given up hope and stalled out. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. Looking forward to being back with you next week whenever we continue on in our study. I guess you'll have to wait until next week in order to see what our next chess piece is going to be. We're through half of them now. We've still got the other half to do. Looking forward to being back with